It's on. All right. I'll explain how this works real quickly. We have a public meeting here where we talk about the case. We get all the facts. You guys explain things to us. Mason gives us some information. If there was anyone in the audience, they would be able to chip in too. And then after that little exploration of the facts of the case, we then have a private board review of the case where we look at the applicable law and the standards we have to apply and sort of kick it all around, and then we hopefully make a decision. So I start by reading a little bit of the legal notice, and that is that well, first let's call the meeting to order and do a roll call.
Roger.
Here.
Rick.
Present.
Jack.
Present. The first thing on this agenda is request for an area variance to install a 4-foot by 32-inch business sign at Ridge Road Imports. And this is 2025 East Shore Drive. The applicant is looking for permission to install a sign that would be 46 feet away from the center line of the public road, where 80 feet is typically required. First thing we typically do in this case is I have Mason explain the case. We open the public meeting, and then Mason will explain the case to everybody, and we can ask him questions, and then after we get that, you guys get the chance to tell us a little bit more, whatever we don't learn from Mason. So Mason, do you want to give us a rundown?
I do. Give me 30 seconds here to just find the right spot on my map here. So essentially they want to put a new business sign in the front yard, but we ran into the issue of they have the weird property line because of the right-of-way for 34 being so large. So their original request was, I think, what, 46 feet? So that would put it somewhere in, I think, according to the picture, so here's the driveway out the road. So here's the middle of 34, the double yellow. Here's the driveway out. I think the existing business sign is over here, and then I think the new proposed sign is going to go somewhere in here. But the issue is that it would be outside of the applicant's property in the right of way of 34. So with that, I think we just have to figure out where within this area here would probably make the most sense where you guys would be interested in relocating to, because it has to be in your property. Like they can't grant you a variance to be in the state's highway property. So it has to be, so this solid line is your property line, and it has to be 8 foot back from this line, but within your property. So I think if you pick a new location somewhere in here, you should be pretty good. Does that make sense? Clear?
Yeah, I think, the thing is we have to vote and consider everything, but first we need to know what it is that you'd like, given that what you asked for initially isn't possible. So the question is, as Mason said, where do you want to be and how far off the center line of the
And I can measure
highway
to some accuracy here on my computer program. So if you guys want to come up, you can point, we can kind of figure it out, and you can measure where you think you want it to go.
Mason, can you show us where the existing sign is?
I sure can.
On that map?
Yep. Give me 1 second. Let me just open this and I can do one even better.
I think they're probably on the road.
Yeah.
And so are a lot of other people's
And are
signs.
they, we haven't heard yet, are they proposing to leave those there?
We'll have to ask Mason, because that's a good question.
And what was that?
Are those existing 2 signs, are they going to stay put?
As far as I know, and I don't know how that shakes out since they have now been discovered to be out of their property. The DOT hasn't. I think the DOT would be the ones that would have to pick the issue with that, and to my knowledge, they have not. But I think, as far as you guys should be aware, they are in the DOT's property. So if they ever did have an issue, I think they could. Correct. But if it's been there, it's probably been there for how many years? Long time. Yeah, sure. So, and that could have that could have changed it. It could have originally been a narrower right-of-way for the highway road.
Can you bring up this one?
Yeah, yep, I'm going for it right here. So here's, let me move, I can move back just a little bit, get a little bit better of a view. So the current property line kind of follows the edge of the asphalt. So right across and then, so everything,
So
maybe
would
that.
the sign behind it?
Oh, yeah. Yep, so then, as long as you're behind, let me go back just a smidge more here. As long as you guys stay behind, so your property line will extend pretty much from the corner straight across. So as long as you're back there.
So if we could be behind, let's say this car, and we have it higher so you can see it?
Sure, I don't think height is so much an issue.
Because we would have to probably go 6 foot high just to get it the car.
Or you could back it up a little bit from the car so that,
Yeah.
because you've got a good bit of space there.
I think there's just certain square footage requirements which you're gonna be in. I don't think height factors into it, and my only issue or concern with that would be if you're too high and too close to the road and block people coming down the road, but you're so far back. You know, and if you keep looking, there's a pretty good sized hill right there.
Right.
So.
Can you pan down, go down towards the Dollar General, and they got a sign, we'll see what that looks like. I think that one's high, right?
Dollar General is wide open, we don't have to.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'm trying to remember what the sign looks
Yeah, I mean, they visibility from both directions.
And I don't know, I was gonna say, I don't know what they might have a different property boundary. They might be like closer to the, to the road than his property is. But that's pretty, I mean, they're pretty far back and that's a pretty
Yeah,
high
far
sign.
high, yeah.
Because you drop down there from the road, that's probably like a 2-foot drop, 1.5 drop as you drop down into the driveway there, and then that's almost as tall as the building.
So let's go back to the property and between the grass and the blacktop.
Okay, hold on, let me get myself.
So we don't have to have an exact location. If we just said they would be south of the blacktop in that stretch of land, you can decide how far away from that car to go.
Right.
We could give you,
If it's
Flexibility.
behind, so yes, but no, we'd have to, if it's, how do I say this? So if he's beyond that 80 feet, fine, doesn't matter, he doesn't even need to be here for a variance. But if he's gonna be shorter than the 80 feet, which he probably will,
and
Then
you want an exact location.
we need, I mean, I'll measure it on here, so this is exact to like a couple feet, and we can just use that. It doesn't have to, like, they don't have to send a surveyor out there.
So
or
if they can
anything.
just poke
Yeah,
their finger there to where they want
If you wanna
it.
just point approximately where you think people, like,
Well, that's too far back because you're not going to see it, so it's really going to be like.
right on the edge of the
Right on
property.
the edge of the grass and the blacktop.
Sure.
And then up high enough so that it can be seen.
So you essentially want it as close, so here's that corner of the asphalt right there. You want it as close to that as possible.
Correct.
Right.
All right, that's easy.
Well, can we make the sign bigger now? Just to get a lot higher?
No, that's
What
fine,
can
that's
it
fine.
be?
Let's look, because it's.
Could be
it's-
4 by 8, right?
Yeah,
There,
right now it's 11 square feet.
I want to say it can go up to 8.
Well, it could be 32 square feet.
Or is it a total that you can have, because they already have some signs?
I think that might be it.
Well, that was my question, is this one business or two businesses? Two
Well, it's
with-
one business, but there's sales of service. But it's all one business.
Okay, because the existing sign doesn't say what services you offer, it just says, it doesn't say
Which is
sales.
the problem, which is why I want to
Yeah.
get another sign that says.
Right.
Ridge Road Repair, Auto Repair.
I read it as 2 businesses under one umbrella.
I think the property can only have so many signs. I suspect the property can only have so much signage.
It seems to me, when I first saw this, that the best place to put any more information is on the existing sign. Because the existing sign already says Ridge Road Imports, and then it needs to say auto sales, service, and repair. So everybody, because right now, because you don't just, you sell American cars too.
What's that?
You sell not just imports.
Right, we sell.
So auto sales, auto repair. But the sign doesn't, this sign right here doesn't say what services you offer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Which is why I'm trying to get another sign.
right, so I was wondering, does it, depending on if another sign exceeds the area,
Yes.
could it be one sign that says what you do?
That's the way.
Part of
Yeah,
the
yeah, I saw
cost.
that, this area. Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's a commercial sign district, so let's see what we got here. Commercial signs shall not exceed 48 square feet. Residential-based business signs, which that is not, multi-family dwelling, townhomes, mobile parks, townhouses, developments shall not that, shopping center, not that. So I think it's just, you can't exceed 48 square, but I believe Jack had a point there, and I think it's a total of all the signs. So it would be the current sign that you have, and then the new one couldn't exceed 48 square feet,
Do we know how big the current sign is?
even though it's technically not on their property. Yeah, so I don't even know how that would shake out, because
That's a good
technically it's not
point.
even on their property.
But it is their sign, and it's,
But they have self-storage is
Okay, yeah, all right, so back to the original question. You just wanted to know if you could increase the size a little bit. Yes, I would think you probably could, but you'd have to just double check and see if it's, we'll have to check with Scott and Heather and see if it's 48 per two of them. We'll have to calculate what's there and then what you have remaining, and you can increase by what, you know, the difference of what's remaining would be.
So going up higher or in wider as long as it's within base of this conversation, 48 feet.
higher is my sense is maybe the
All right,
best.
so hold on. Height of the sign off the ground is different than the height of the actual sign. So the height of the actual sign, the height and the width would be what they use to calculate the square footage. No concern if it's 6 feet off the ground or 8 feet off the ground.
Bring it up above the cars and we go 6 or 7 feet.
That doesn't factor
matter.
into the
It's-
48 square
As long
feet.
as it's.
Yes, correct. I think that's what it
But-
is.
but we
And we'll
don't-
double check with Scott and Heather, and you might luck out, it might be the 48 per sign, and then you can make a huge sign, so.
I'm pretty sure when we did the Dandy Mart, it was a cumulative total.
And I think when they just did the Dunkin' Donuts, it was cumulative as well. So that's the
I
only
mean,
reason that I'm saying.
my suggestion would be, unless you're in a giant rush, to let this sit for a month. We'll adjourn the case and get Scott and Heather to go out there and figure out how big the other sign is and figure out whether you can even add this one, given those other signs, and if so, how big you can make it. I mean, if the other one was, 40 square feet, then you'd be able to add another 8. If the other one's 30, you can add 18. I mean, assuming that that's the way they're going to count it.
No, it's probably not. And it'll probably be me instead of Scott or Heather, but I can, if you guys don't mind waiting until next month, I'll certainly come out and we can measure it and I'll help you figure everything out.
Well, and the other thing is Roger's point, you might say, well, maybe we should just add something to the existing sign. As long as the highway department's not complaining.
To the cost of doing that, it would be considerably more.
Could you attach it to the base so you have the existing sign, then it's stuck to the pole, or? Well, then, anyway, it's up to you. We can do this, or you can take some time and see if you want to have a bigger sign.
Right, yeah, if the wind comes down, 34 would blow away.
Plus, you probably would have some issue, like to just update that sign since it's in the right of way. Correct. I was going to say, maybe you just don't call the DOT and say, hey, guys, Right. Something new, sure. Yeah, that's probably a good point, too.
We still need to know how big it is, though.
Yeah, no,
to know
I'll
whether
still
this
go out
is-
and measure it, and then we can calculate all
But I
the
mean, we could
square
still
footage.
give them this variance and then they'd have to come back for another variance.
I
if-
would just, I kind of agree with Jack, if you guys aren't in the biggest rush ever, maybe just wait, and it'll only be at most one more month, because it's not, that we hold the public hearing at the same time that they grant the approval, so I'll come out and measure sometime in the interim, and then we'll get it all.
Hopefully it works for our great.
We'll have more people here for the next hearing too, which would mean you'd have a better chance of getting all the votes. But no, I think as long as you're not in a big rush, it's quick. We'll adjourn this hearing. You'll check all the rules out carefully to see whether the ones in the road right-of-way count, how big they are, what you can actually do. You can talk about the height of the sign. You could have a bigger and higher sign potentially. And then you can figure out exactly where you want it.
I think we have that where we want it. The question, I think, is Mason wants, is how big.
How big we can make it.
Sign,
Yeah.
And how big the new sign will be, and then we'll decide how high off the ground.
Yeah.
Sure. And then I
Certainly
also,
can wait a month for that, I think, right?
All right. Well, I move we adjourn the hearing. Do I have any votes?
I agree.
All, we've 3-0. We're adjourning the hearing.
Public hearing wise, that's just off the table, I don't have to worry about that, I mean, because.
We've opened the public hearing,
oh, yeah, no, I guess we already did it.
but we've now adjourned the public hearing.
And we don't have to do another one next month?
We can,
right?
I don't think we have to do another notice, we just have to reopen the hearing. Is that right, Judy?
Unless it significantly changes.
Unless it
Okay.
significantly changes. Okay.
Yeah, and 46 feet to 51 feet is not a,
Huge
change.
Okay.
but if the sign gets like 3 times as big,
Then that would be.
then we
sure,
might have to do
sure,
it. So
sure, Okay.
that's a good point.
And I guess that's just, that only matters to me and her, so we can make sure we get it filled out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant, just adjourning it.
Not actually closing the public hearing.
Yeah, we're just adjourning it.
Perfect, okay. And then you just reopen it, so we don't have to send out another notice and do all the, very good.
Unless it's real different.
Unless it's real different, sure.
All right. Well, that's it.
Thank you, guys, and I will be in touch, I guess, Craig, I'll just coordinate with you, or do you want me to coordinate with you, or how?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Can I just show up whenever I have time? If you see me out measuring, it's me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you don't need to call.
Yeah, that would be great, and you know what, let me go grab mine, and I'll give you mine too.
I can measure tomorrow.
Or if you want to do that, you can do that, and just let me know what it is.
Turn this
I'll
off.
do all the
Well,
research and figure everything out.
Kelly,
That's fine too.
anything else coming down the road, anything, or should we just adjourn the meeting, close the meeting?
Sign's gonna be plenty small.
I don't have a lot to add. The next meeting.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it very much. Yeah. And if
Perfect.
If you want to
All
measure,
right.
that's fine.
Well,
Hand
then,
measure.
we're all done. We're set.
This will be it for next month. We don't
Yes,
have anything
this will be it.
else.
So all in favor of closing the meeting? We're all there. Thanks very much.